Although the season just ended, all eyes are on the upcoming season for Arsenal in August. With the transfer window underway and many rumours coming out, I think it is time to look at what we expect from Arsenal and the expectations going into the next season. With that being said, if you like this video, please like and subscribe for any more football content. Now, it's no secret that Arsenal have the current best trajectory out of any team, I would say, in England. Obviously, under Arteta come 8th twice, 5th, and now 2nd twice, and now it's time to push on and really try and win that league. Now, we definitely closed the gap last season, getting it to the last day and only losing by 2 points. And ultimately, I know a lot of people are very disappointed because we got so close, but I do think this is great because it shows the improvement over the year before. We have got improvement, even if at times it didn't seem like it. Now, the transfer window this summer is going to be very important in that we need to make smart signings and spend our money sporadically very well. Obviously, being invested a lot, but also making sure we get the right players in. Now, I've done a video about the transfers I expect us or want us to make, so go and watch that if you care about the transfer window. But when it comes to utmost importance of results, I think we really should be expected to win a trophy this year. Now, I've been pretty open with the fact I don't think success is completely determined by trophies, but I think ultimately if you look into the future after everything is done, it is, but I wouldn't say that's a problem right now. I think Arsenal have been slowly getting better every single season, and I would expect us to even probably win the Premier League next year. At least I will be predicting that, depending on how the transfer window goes. Now, we know we can compete with Man City. We didn't lose to any of the top 6 teams this year, and when the big games happened, I don't think we necessarily played that bad. Of course, you can look at some of the Champions League games being a bit inexperienced in them situations, but we do have to improve our concentration throughout the whole of the season, and we need to be a little bit quicker to make decisions. We weren't very good in that December period, and that ended up costing us, I think, and we did a few tactical changes which Arteta did brilliantly to make it better in the end. But hopefully next season we understand that these things aren't working, and people like Havertz playing in midfield isn't really a good solution for the future. Now, it's not the end of the world if we don't win the Premier League next year, because I think it will probably be Pep Guardiola's last year, and we're in the best position to actually push on and win it next year after he leaves. But of course, I would expect us at least to be winning it, or maybe getting even closer than we did this year, considering we are definitely at the same level, I think, as them overall. And we definitely need to improve in cup competitions. Now, this is going to play into the transfer window because we need to get our squad depth a little bit better, and hopefully this will make us be able to play on all fronts. Now, I don't mean every competition that matters. In my opinion, the Carabao Cup does not matter to our club. I wouldn't really mind if we go out of that early, and ultimately I don't particularly care about the FA Cup because we have won it so many times already, but just getting a little bit further in these competitions would be very important. Now, I know it depends on draws, which I'd say we didn't get very favourable ones this year, but I don't think we played brilliantly when the squad players had to come in and were given game time, and that's something obviously signings will make better, and I want to see some of them turn up a little bit this year. If we are to sell someone like Fabio Vieira or Smith Rowe, if the other one stays, I want them to be better, and trying to get far in a cup competition for the team that we have should be quite reasonable. Now, the Champions League is a different outcome because it is changing, so we've got more games in the group stage. We've got 8 now, and the draw can really screw you over or help you. Still think we should be getting to at least the second knockout round, but it may be a bit different because we're not used to it, and the situations may not end up helping us in the future. And if it comes down to League or Champions League, I think the League's a bit more assured right now, and I would focus on that going further into the future. But overall, I think we have to do better in the cup competitions for the team that we are. Now, next we're going to move on to tactical changes. Now, I would like to see a bit more of a variety and quickness of when we're making changes, and overall a lot of people are going to be adapted to Havertz playing up front and the different systems that we use. Now, depending on who we get in that double pivot with Rice will depend a lot. Maybe Rice still plays in the 8 and moves forward, or he should probably play as the 6 and we can get another 8 to progress the ball. We need to make sure that Martinelli, specifically on the left, or whoever plays there, gets the ball as much as possible in key areas. We can't be letting them have it deep and not getting the ball and having most of our control go down the right side. And I also think we need to continue with Odegaard playing a little bit deeper as more of an 8 than a 10. I think this makes him a lot better, shows his true ability of dribbling in midfield and doing great tackles. And I also think sometimes we can't fully rely on him to make all the creative numbers in the team. We need some more help from other positions, such as another left mid, centre mid if we were to buy one. And he needs to leave Saka alone. Him and Saka's space between the two needs to be further than it is, because them being close to each other is just causing so much of a mess that players are being dragged in front of each other, and it's not giving the space required. Odegaard moving more into games where we see him peel off into the left side, I think would also be a really good thing. So maybe getting a left centre mid that can versatilely move with Odegaard in the game games to left and right side, I think could be very important for the tactical change. But I do think Arsenal will get a lot of help in their tactical systems next year. Obviously, we're hoping Timber will be fit for the whole season for once. We're going to see a lot more change in the back line. Hopefully, another player coming in where we can switch it up a little bit and not rely too much on some players. So we're going to have an invertation there at all times. We're going to have people like Jorginho that can come in a lot more often, and we're freely moved around this. We're going to be at least planned for Partey not to be there. He may still be there, but we're at least planning for that this time. And there hopefully will be some bit more depth going up front where we get new players come in and we can switch and swap it around. Now, I am very excited about the news of that Sesko. Obviously, we don't know if it's actually going to happen, but it looks like he is agreed or wants to at least sign for Arsenal. And I think if we bring him in, it gives us a lot more variety going forward. We'll have Sesko and Havertz who could play up front or in midfield. Sesko could play on the left where we've got Trossard, Jesus, Martinelli could play, while Trossard and Jesus could also play up front as well. And then on the right, you could play Saka. Probably Nelson will leave, and I'm hoping that Jesus can lock down that rotational right wing position because I think it might actually help him overall. And at least I know it's disappointing for another year. We're not going to probably sign a winger, but I don't think it's the worst decision right now. Hopefully he keeps his fitness a little bit better. And now I know we've spoke about the players that Arsenal could potentially sign in the future, and obviously that's going to bring a big improvement to the team, but I think the players that we have are going to improve in tenfold as well. Every single season, pretty much most of our starting 11 had improved to a good level since Arteta had been there. Obviously we saw some down points last season, I'd say, from players like Martinelli, but we can blame other things for that happening. I think next year you're really going to see the end goal of a lot of these players and probably the peak of a lot of them. I think Gabriel and Saliba together are just proven all the time. I don't think we should rely on them as much as we did this year. They shouldn't be playing every single minute and every single game, but they are clearly a very strong lineup. You've got people like Timber who can come in and Ben White who's just improving. And for people whose second year it's going to be, I think they're going to hit the ground running from the start. I'm looking at David Raya, who was on and off for large parts, but in the end finished quite strongly and got Golden Glove. We've got Kai Havertz, who of course was brilliant for the last 3 or 4 months in that total run. And I think with his new role and how he's really cemented himself within the side and the fan base, I expect him to be much more accomplished next season. And even people like Martin Odegaard, who started the season quite slowly in the role that he was playing, we changed it up and he got a lot better. That sort of inexperienced and inconsistencies that we had at the start, I don't think will happen now that we understand what we need to do and where we need to be. And of course, there's probably going to be a little bit of setting in period for the players that we do sign. We know that our current level of squad is really high, where we could probably win the league if these players are playing well. Everyone else just makes the floor higher and helps the squad overall. So this 1 year experience, I think also being in the Champions League is going to help us a lot, because I don't think we were banned in the Champions League. I think it mostly came down to inexperience and we were a bit nervy on the days. But with that under our belt, I expect us to go again and be really competing at all fronts next season. But ultimately, the main reason why Arsenal are going to be better next season is because of Mikel Arteta. Now, I think every single season we've seen a clear improvement by his management and how he runs the club. But I think this season, every single week we saw how good he was. There is so many games where he clearly knows what he is doing, not even looking at the signings or anything outside the club, just looking from a level of the play-in. How we change our system up per game has been incredible. And there's just little things like when we played against Chelsea and Tottenham, allowed them to have the ball more than us having it. The whole putting Havertz up front movement, putting Rice in the 8. There's just so many ways he always figures out things to work out. And I don't think it's necessarily the plan for this, but I think he always sees in the future and has an idea of how things are going to pan out and ways that he can change it if it doesn't go the way you think. Now, I think Mikel Arteta is one of the best things to happen to this club in a long while, and I think long may his reign continue. I think he's just going to keep improving, and I think no matter what players that we buy, I think he deserves the trust of the fans at least, because he deserves it of how many he's got right, and that he is going to get everything right this season. I'm very excited to see where the team goes. I think there's many opportunities for us to really become a top team, and considering this is probably going to be Pep Guardiola's last year, it'd be so incredible to win something major this year before he leaves, and then I think we can genuinely start an era of domination. Let me know in the comments what you think and what you think is going to happen next year, and how do you think Arsenal are going to improve, because I'm very sure at this moment in time that we will improve again. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for any more Arsenal or football content, and if not, I'll see you in the next one.